Okay guys, this is going to be a quick demonstration on how to grid out your portrait as well as your paper, and then how we're going to use that 1x1 grid to go ahead and transfer over your drawing. So I know that some of you in class had a little bit of difficulty gridding out your paper, and that's fine. I think at first everyone does. What you want to make sure you go in and do first is you're going to go in and you're going to measure 2 inches on the bottom of your paper, and then you're going to measure 1 inch on the side of your paper here. That extra space is where we could practice if we want to go in and play around with our pencils a little bit, practice some shading, and we're also going to be numbering it in there. Now, when you go to make a grid, whether it be horizontally or vertically, rather than just drawing a line straight across, you want to go in and measure it. So the easiest way to do that, and I'm going to flip this paper over so you could see a little bit better. The easiest way to do that is to start at the top of the paper, and you're going to go in and you're going to make a tick mark every inch. Now, on your paper, you're going to want to draw really lightly, and I'm just going to leave it at 10 because we want 2 inches down there. You want to draw really lightly, so you're going to be using an HB pencil, so one of these guys. That means that the graphite in it is a little bit softer. A little bit harder, and then as we work up, we're going to be using the softer graphite to get darker shades. I'm then going to go in on the opposite side of my paper, and I'm going to make tick marks at 1 inch going all the way down. Now the reason I'm doing this is so that I could connect these marks rather than just guessing and drawing a line completely across. So what I would do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to connect these lines. I'm just going to go in and barely drag my pencil across. Sorry, that was a little loud. And I'm going to do the same thing going all the way through. And that's what's going to make my 1 inch grid. When I'm ready to go ahead and do the other side, it's going to be the same exact thing, but I'm going to face my ruler going this way. So I would make a tick every single inch. Do that on the bottom of the paper and then connect them. So after we're done connecting all of those, you're gonna have a grid, and I started drawing this portrait out already. I was originally working with a different picture, so don't mind this part just yet. So I started erasing some of it, but we're gonna go in on how to transfer our grids. The photograph that I printed out for all of you is an 8x10 photograph. So when you're gridding this out, it's going to be the same exact thing that we did on your paper. You're going to start where the photograph began, and you're just going to go in every single inch, make a little mark, do the same exact thing at the bottom, and you're going to have a 1 inch grid. So overall, you should have an 8x10 inch grid over your face and an 8x10 inch grid on your paper. So now to go ahead and transfer these in. You guys will notice that I went ahead in on both of them and I labeled the sides. So this one says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then I also labeled the bottom. I labeled my picture the exact same way. This is going to help us carry over the drawing. So I'm going to lay this down flat, and what I usually like to do is go ahead first and get my face shape and where my hair is going to be, and then start plotting out some of my facial features. After that, we're going to take the entire drawing square by square, and that's how we're going to start shading it in. So I went in and I went ahead and I started lining up my hair. So when I go to 6 and 2, it should match approximately here. Now what I'm going to do is go in now and I'm going to start to draw out my eyebrow and my eye so that you guys can see how we're going to line these up with a grid. So my eye begins on my paper here. It says around 3 and 4. So I'm going to go up 3 and in 4. And I'm going to take a look at this box and I'm going to approximate where my eye is going to be. So I'm going to say the white of my eye goes about up to here. And you guys want to draw this out really, really lightly because you want to be able to go ahead in and erase. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry over the rest of this white part of my eye, and it lines up to a little bit more than center. So I'm going to bring that over. And with this, with the grid drawing, it helps you draw what you actually see on the paper, not what you just think you see from your memory. So you have to pay really, really close attention to it. And I'm gonna go in and you really wanna try to look at the shape that you're gonna be making. And you wanna work with your HB pencil for this. When you draw the grid over your other portrait, you can use maybe a darker pencil. It might help you see it a little bit better. The next thing I'm going to go in and do is I'm going to start blocking out the dark part of my eye, my pupil, and then the brown section around it. So it looks like that goes a little bit through there. And I'm going to start to round it over, and you want to pay attention to the roundness of the eye. Now your eye isn't just made up of that. Otherwise it looks like I just have, one circle and the outline. There's so much shading and value and additional line work around the eye through here and through the eyebrow that when we go in and when we pay attention to that and when we shade it, that's what's going to really bring our work to life. So I'm going to go in now and I'm going to start to draw the eyelid part up above. And even though it's going to be really dark in the end, I'm just drawing it in nice and light. I'm going to have eyelashes. I'm going to have all these different pieces. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to start to draw my pupil. And once again, this doesn't really look quite realistic, and the reason for that is we have no value in there. Looking at my face right here, I don't have just the outline of a nose. It's made up of all these different shades, and by going square by square, that's what's going to help us do that. The next thing I went in and did is I went in and I started working on my hairline. So that met around here. If I went ahead in, it's 3 and 2, and then I went in at 3 and I went in at 2, and I started, lightly filling that in. You don't want to get any really dark lines until we start to go in and add value. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go in and I'm going to start to measure out my eyebrow. So my eyebrow starts about midway through my eye. And I don't want to just go ahead and draw in this overall shape. I'm just going to lightly feather it in. So it looks like it starts around there and it ends about there. So it is going to get darker as I shade it in, but this is just going to be the general shape of it so that we have something in there. The thing you don't want to do is go in with really harsh lines and outline it. Now going through here, if I were to focus on just this one little area, that would probably take me like a good, 20-30 minutes of drawing. So I'm going to go through there just really quickly and start to block out some tones. Now when you're shading, you want to use the side of your pencil. You don't want to use the point. And it's really important to make sure that you have a really, really sharp pencil the whole entire time. So I'm going to start developing a gray tone in here. And it starts to stop around here, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to start to darken up my eyebrow. continue working on this, and I'll show you guys in class tomorrow as I progress. But what you want to get done today is you want to get everything gridded, and you want to get your overall outline of your face, of your chin, of your neck, following the grid, and then we'll go in and we're going to start to adjust facial features, and as the week continues, we'll go square by square.